name's Markus. Oh, you already know that. This guy, Dave, the raw food trucker, was trucking through town, and I shot his tires out just so I could drag him in here and
Dude,
talk
you're
for
so
him.
rock. Yeah.
So anyway, for those of you who don't know who he is, he was a little bigger than this when he started, and you were dying, right?
I was dying,
So
yes.
tell everybody in a few moments, real quick, what your story is.
This is a shirt that I used to fit into when I weighed 430 pounds.
430 pounds. That's
430 pounds, my brother. Yeah, not good. And I was dying. I had stage 2 colon cancer. I had diabetes. My kidneys were leaking proteins into my blood system. I was actually told that at some point I was going to end up on a kidney dialysis machine. The doctors wanted to hit my colon with chemotherapy and radiation, shrink it down and cut out a small
basically
part.
kill you.
Yes, you got it, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware of any of this. I wasn't aware that people could be healed through something as simple as plant foods. When I heard this, I thought, wow, Dave and Yuta Whiting, these people that I was teaching them how to drive a truck, and they taught me how to live, right? It was so cool. And I'm just sitting here going, wow, you know what? These guys are crazy. I mean, a doctor, a nurse, my parents, a teacher, somebody somewhere would have said, hey, you know what? You don't want to cook your food because that kills it. You know, somebody somewhere would have told me that. And then as I got deeper into researching it, I began to discover that, you know, I got off of 18 of 19 prescription medications in less than 6 months, not even realized, not trying to do it, just as I got in tune with my body.
Just felt like you don't need them anymore.
Well, it was making me sick.
So you were the typical American guy, driving a truck.
I was a typical American trucker.
Being manly, eating your man food and everything, and all the doctors were giving you pills.
Yep.
And what was it? You picked up some people that, like some hitchhikers or somebody?
No, I taught people how to drive a rig. So David and his wife, Judith.
These are young people.
Well, you know what? That's the interesting thing. They were raw fooders. He was 40 and she was 22 or something, or 21. Yeah. I thought they were both in their 20s. I couldn't tell that David was in his 40s. I mean, that blew me away because of the skin. Just like when I asked you how old you were, I honestly thought you were in your mid to late 20s. You told me, I was like, whoa, okay, cool. It's so incredible.
It's a whole new world for you.
Yeah.
So you're a living example to people out there that
you can do it if you want to do it. This can be done if you want to do it. I did all of this while I was driving a big rig, working 70 hours a week. And Markus, when I discovered juicing and juice feasting and flooding the body with the micronutrients, the phytonutrients, the antioxidants, the beta carotenes, everything, the broad spectrum, and the power that the greens have in our life to change life, something changed. There was a paradigm shift in me when I got rid of the animal products and I started heavily juicing. And that's really where I saw my main healing. That's when this whole paradigm shift came, was when I discovered I had cancer. I got really scared. And I was like, okay, because before I was like, this is a great diet. I'm cheating. I'm having a hamburger here and there. I still lose weight. But all of a sudden it's like, whoa, okay, I got cancer. I'm getting rid of all the animal products. And in a 3-week period of time of getting those animal products out of my life, I'm talking everything, the cheese, the yogurt. I used to eat 3 pounds of red meat a day.
It's not just the animal products, it's the bread and the...
Oh, it's everything. Everything that was cooked.
Everything that's not in nature that everybody eats.
Yeah.
So how many hours do you drive? I mean, when you were doing this, like, people are going to say, well, you know, I'm too busy for this. How can I possibly have the time to live like this? It's too expensive, takes so much time. But you guys drive for like, what, 18 hours a day or something?
Yes, not quite 18 hours a day, but the reality is that we would drive 11 hours a day. And then by law, after 3 hours, we had to shut down. So we had 14 hours to do everything we were doing in our day. And one of the things that I realized was that if I'm going to live, excuses are useless. There's nothing. I mean, I'm dying, so excuses are useless.
So where did you get your food, your nutrients?
Okay, here's what I did. When I was on the road, I got 100 foot of extension cord. I bought the cheapest juicer you could buy, and I would park in a rest area, kingpin lock my trailer so it's secured, bobtail over to the nearest store, get as much organics, and I told the people in the produce section what I was doing, that I was dying, and asked them to wash the produce. They were all willing to do it. And then I would take it over, run the extension cord from the plug out to this giant, yeah, really, it was crazy, out to this picnic table, and I had 3.5 foot of vegetables high, 6 foot long on the picnic table, because I was juicing 3 gallons of juice to last 3 days. I was drinking a gallon of dark green leafy vegetable juice.
You were preparing for the next few days.
Right.
That's good.
Because that's all I could do. That was my lifestyle.
Right.
I know it's better if you drink it fresh, oxidization. Now that I'm not driving, I tried to do that. But my message to everybody is just get started. Start experimenting with going raw, organic, vegan. The 3 key elements in all this. As I started researching this out, what I realized is that I was raised 100% dead food diet or 99% dead food diet from the time I was born. My mother put the powdered milk in, boiled it, let it cool down like it said in the books. 1950s, Dr. Spock, you know, everybody's going to bottle fed. It's quote unquote better. Boy, was that a giant lie perpetuated on America. I've been on this dead food diet for 51 years of my life. And now in 5 years, a little bit less than 5 years, I have more energy than I really feel I've ever had. I feel like I did in my late 20s or early 30s when I was in the best peak shape I was. And I'm having the funnest time of my life. I mean, it's not just I call it, I know this sounds weird, I'm not trying to get new agey on you, but I call it the living life force. I believe that there is a force in the plant species that connects us.
Oh yeah.
It's somehow connected.
Oh yeah, you feel it.
To everything, and you do feel it.
Yeah.
And I felt it, and I'd never experienced anything like that before. And there's a healing power in all of this. My message to people isn't that, hey, raw, organic, vegan, you know, it's the end all be all. But I really do believe that is the most healing diet on the planet.
It's not a diet,
for the
it's
human
a way
race.
of living.
It is.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
I have to break away from the whole thing of diet.
It's not a diet, folks.
Right. It becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's really what's going on.
Right. It's just a new way of feeling. Okay, so you learn to stop eating cooked dead things.
What I would do is go in and fuel, and I wouldn't even sign for the fuel. I would drive and leave. I stopped parking at truck stops because I was going through these cravings, and I started parking at the rest areas where I couldn't buy any food when I was going through the cravings, right? Then I started learning how to, like this one time I walked in this mall, I was going to buy some clothes because it was just, the weight was just falling off. And I just smelled this thing. I walked through this food court, and that was it, man. I didn't just eat at the one thing I smelled. I ate at 10 places. I felt so bad. I never felt so much guilt in my life. My action plan, I got 200 of these action plans, I'm embarrassed to say. But the reality is that what I did was I wrote out, okay, this is what caused me to fail. What am I going to do so I never, ever, ever do it again? Why? Because excuses are useless. I'm dying. I have no choice. I'm either going to live or die here, and that's where I was at. And I get this all the time from people, well, I'll wait till I'm dying. Don't wait till you're dying. Start now, for God's sake. Have that off of the bat.
It's the same thing that people think of, like, well, the airplane's crashing, I'm going to just hop off at the last second before it hits.
Yeah, and that's impossible to do.
You know?
No, my girlfriend Mickey, before I went raw and knew about it, she died of cancer. My brother Tim, 1 year younger than me, his warning of a heart attack was he died. My warning of a heart attack, I survived it, I believe, because I was raw, organic, vegan. In the action plan, when I went walking through the mall, what I did was, in my action plan, I wrote out, I will never, until I got control of these cravings, and for two and a half years, I did not walk through the section of a mall that had the food court. I figured out where to park around the other end of the mall and go to where I was going, so I would never walk. It's just what I had to do. And that's a part of this action plan. Excuses are useless, and figuring out what are we going to do. Taking the bull by the horns and moving in the direction that I believe most people need to move in this day and age, which is raw, organic, vegan. I keep coming back to those 3 words because that's the reality of what's going on.
And speaking of not just avoiding the food court, you did the exact radical opposite. You said you went to the woods.
Yes.
You live like an animal.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me about that.
I go into the old growth forest, man. There is so much to live on there through plant species once you know what you're doing. And man, I just connect with nature and the old growth forest. It's incredible. You can get into the wild foraging and it is so incredible. Like wild grass, which you told me you've done, which is so cool.
All grass is edible.
Yeah, yeah. For every one blade of grass that you step on that you see in nature, there were 100 blades of grass fighting for that one spot. And that one blade of grass is the one that won. So
powerful, yeah.
That's the reason why wildcrafted foods found in nature, only the strongest survive. That's the reason why they have 10 to 100 times more phytonutrients, antioxidants, all the major vitamins, minerals in them, as you well know.
Yeah, yeah. So you were on a lot of medication. You were dying.
Yes. I was dying, absolutely.
And now
I got rid of cancer in 6 months. The thing that I was told was irreversible. The proteins leaking in out of the kidneys into the blood system. I was told by one doctor that it was inevitable. It was all downhill. Couldn't be reversed, and I was going to end up on a kidney dialysis machine. Well, in 11 months, that was gone. And I just had a blood test 5 days ago with my holistic doctor in Mexico. And guess what? Still no blood, still no proteins leaking in the blood system, you know. It's like, Google it, check it out, guys. They'll tell you, because my doctors, I mean, they were freaked out by the whole thing. They thought there was a mistake in the blood test when they did it, because they called me back for several blood tests because they were like, something's wrong with the machine. There's no proteins leaking in your blood system. It's impossible, right? Yeah. I get there, silly me. I'm going, oh no, this all makes sense. Dr. Gabriel Cousins talks about how things heal and regenerate on a cellular structure. You know, they don't want to hear it, man.
So what's your summed up words to the manly men out there who say, oh, I need my protein. I got to do my manly stuff.
I tell this all the time. Real men drink dark green leafy vegetable juice, and I, for fun, am doing this video. We actually went into this bar, took the bar cake for the tap, and we put 2 gallons of juice in it. Then we have the tap cake coming out, and all these guys are partying, you know. So that's about to come out. That'll be a lot of fun. Great. But I really do. You know, the whole thing about this real men, you go out and drink 12 beers and you're somehow cool. That's a bunch of crap. The reality is that real men are going to be healthy, and they are going to be in a position to really think clearly, and they're going to be in a position for their wives and their children to honor them and to show them how to do this. The real men and the real women are going to want to share how they live their lives, and it's a myth. It's a myth. All this stuff about what a real man is in America, it's just a bunch of crap.
I think a real man is a person who's not afraid to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Despite the possible making fun of by other people.
Yes.
So, so you're a hero to everybody.
Well, I am honored you say that.
And
thank you.
It's a real silly question here. So as you're driving and drinking all this juice, you got to like pee in a bottle the whole time you're driving?
Okay. Legally, we're not supposed to do that. So I'm going to give you a little tip here that really, for about 75% of the people that get into heavy juicing, this works. 25% for some reason it doesn't. Digestible enzymes. What I discovered on my long-term juice feast, and I've done 390 days, a 4-month, and I've lost count of 30 and 60 days. But what I discovered from my truck driving was, if I gobbled up the digestible enzymes, it really, I had control of my bladder, and I could go for 2 or 3 hours and then pee. And so the people that I coach, the people up at Thrive Restaurant, I remember several of them were doing a juice feast. I remember Kimo running to the bathroom. Dave, I'm going to juice feast. I got to run. So he comes out like, dude, here, I gave him like 10. Dude, he was, what are those, dude? I got to find them. They're great. You know, but 75% of the people, it does work. So if you're juicing and you're worried about having to run to the bathroom every 10 minutes, try taking some digestible enzymes. I know there's purists that say don't take enzymes and all that. You know, I leave it up to people. What I say is find out what works for your body. Right. But if it fits in the spectrum of raw, organic, and vegan, then that's the best thing that can happen for the human body. I truly believe that. It's beyond believing it. I've lived through it and I know it. I was 97% paralyzed on the right side of my body and flown in on a helicopter. And in less than 3 months, I no longer have paralysis. Guess what, folks? I did that through juicing. I did the same thing with the cancer. And 6 months of cancer was gone. I did the same thing for the diabetes. There's a tip hint here, right? Flood the body with phytonutrients. It's integrative nutrition. Flood the body with those dark green leafy vegetables and start out slow and figure out what works for your body. It's all there. And then we've got great leaders like Markus in the raw food movement here. If you need inspiration, if you need help, if you need support, something that David and Una Whiting told me was start reading books every day, because I wasn't on a computer. And start dedicating an hour every day to learning about raw foods. And then once I got my computer, okay, cool. Then I found out, okay, who inspires me, what's going on. But really, I made a decision to surround myself with like-minded people, and I let everybody go on mine. Not that my family and friends, I love them just as much, but this is a life I'm living, and where does it lead me? Exactly. It leads me right here to you, to Miss Gorgeous behind the camera that nobody gets to see, you know, to the 30 or 40 people that I spoke to in Las Vegas tonight. And eventually you surround yourself with like-minded people. Guess what happens? You start living like that.
Exactly.
And this guy right here is living testimony to it.
Well, I think everybody should be.
Yeah, me too.
We're just jump-starting the thing. Well, thank you, Dave. You've been a real inspiration. How can people get hold of you? Because you're obviously an inspiration too. So
thank you. I'm at daveconrady.com.
How do you spell that?
Dave, D-A-V-E, and then CONRARDY.com. I've got stuff on the website. I really believe in the healing power of grass and alfalfa. And alfalfa is so phytonutrient rich, it's way beyond kale.
Yeah.
And the reason why you don't see it on phytonutrient chart is you have to juice it, because we would have to have two stomachs. It is off the chart, but it's on the animal charts. I didn't know that there's two charts, one for people, one for animal, because I was talking to this nutritionalist, and a nutritionalist, but I said, why am I feeling this rocket fuel energy from alfalfa? And he told me it's because it's not on a human chart, but it's on the animal chart, but it's way more phytonutrient rich than kale is. And kale is at 980. Spinach, the other superfood, is between 430 and 450. So take kale at 980 out of 1,000, and you can almost double it. It's just incredible. Yeah. But the only way we get it is to juice it.
We could talk for days.
Yeah, we could, bro. We'll wrap it up.
We'll talk again. This is like every next time you're in town.
My honor, my privilege, brother.
All right, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Blessings.